You're welcome back. It's now time to begin our conversation for the day, and it's on the Lagos State Consumer Protection Law. As we told you earlier on, the governor of the state, Babatunde Fashola, has signed a new bill into law. Of course, one of the reasons for this is that it's meant to protect consumer. Of course, the consumer is king, and we dictate, I'm also a consumer, we dictate the extent to which a country grows and economy grows, because of the purchasing power of consumers is important in any economy. And so we will be looking at these issues, and we are being joined in the studio by the head of the Lagos Office of the Consumer Protection Council, Tam Okombia, just to my immediate left. Good morning for coming.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And to my far left, we have a legal practitioner, is Chinwike Ezebube. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
We do appreciate your time with us. Okay, I'm going to start off with Ezebube. I just wanted to tell us, what is this consumer protection bill all about? I want to start from that angle. We'll look at the bill that has been signed by the Lagos State Governor.
Okay. Just as the name suggests, this is a bill that protects the interest of the consumer. You understand? This is a bill that gives the consumer the right not just to use goods or services, but to use them as he or she desires them to be used in accordance with the dictates of the product. To make sure that there are three cardinal points there. To make sure that the quality is what he or she wanted. To make sure that the quantity is exactly what was specified and supplied or received. Then to make sure that in a situation where there are deficiencies, he or she can be compensated adequately. You know, I need to also add that when you start to talk about the consumer right, you need to ask yourself, first of all, who is a consumer? It is when you have a proper definition of a consumer that you can really know what the act is all about. Because without the consumer, the act wouldn't have been in place anyway. So since it is the consumer that the act is protecting, now we ask ourselves, what is a consumer, or who is a consumer? You know, so for me, I will go back to one of the positions of a writer. His name is Badaiki. You know, he said that the concept of a consumer incepted from the Bible. You know, it's funny, but I think he has some. I think it's a credible position. He said that in the book of Deuteronomy 22, verse 8, that God was telling the builders that they should make sure they build their houses or make their constructions in such a way that the people that come in contact with their project will not be wounded. That was what he saw as the basis of the consumer protection. And another American author said that the word consumer is synonymous with citizen. You know, which means that when you're talking about a consumer right or the consumer protection, you're also talking about the civic rights of a citizen. So you cannot differentiate between a consumer and a citizen. So once anybody is in your territorial or geographical location of your operation, automatically the person is a consumer, because one way or the other, the person will be affected by the goods or services that you provide.
Okay, let me come to Tam. Tam, I know you've been at the forefront of protecting consumers in the country, because you represent the CPC here in Lagos. What has it been like, being able to, you know, clamor for protection of consumers generally?
Well, thank you for that question. I will say that the Consumer Protection Council over the years has been in the forefront of promoting consumer rights. And it's been a ride that has been tough, but I would say that consumers are better off today in terms of awareness, in terms of knowledge. Things that would not have happened today. Over time, for us as a council, you will hear that when you invite manufacturers, when you invite traders who are not doing what they ought to do, they ignore you in time past. But it's not so today. Today they do so, you know, at their own peril. But I must say that consumer protection has moved on. What the Lagos State government has done, I think, is also to bring into the consciousness of Lagosians about their rights. The rights of the consumers over the years, we've always been saying it through the eyes of the United Nations, through Consumer International, the 8 international rights of the consumers. We keep preaching them and we keep saying it. But I think what they have done in Lagos is also to bring it into the law. It's not just to say you have 8 rights internationally. Yeah. They have brought some of these rights into the law. Section 4 of the Lagos State bill, had some of them. But I must say, the rights that are enunciated in that section are, I think, about 4 or 5, about the national law is also undergoing some amendment. And when we look through that law, which has gone through the second stage, you will find that we have not only captured all the 8 rights, but much more as it applies to us in Nigeria. And I think that's where we are now as a council. I must say that it is better than before.
Okay, let me come to Ebube. Is Ebube? Ebube. Yeah. I was just wondering, what do you think the governor was thinking about while signing that law? Because I know that before a law is usually signed by the governor, a lot of input from stakeholders as to what they think about a particular law. But what do you think it's aimed to achieve, especially when you consider Lagos as a commercial nerve center of the country?
Okay, when you look at the law itself, if you look at the composition of the committees, it will show you the level of professionalism, in my own conception, that was put into this law. It has not just the NGOs, it has representatives from almost every reasonable and considerable section that affects the consumer. With that composition, there's no way he will not have the right interests being represented. Not just that the right interests are being represented, but also the right advice are received from the appropriate quarters. Because definitely you cannot imagine that the governor knows everything about the consumer from every angle. So he needs maybe some people from the manufacturing sector to talk to him about what is happening there. So if you look at the committees that were formed as part of the agency, we know that actually it's much more broader than the CPC that is applicable in Nigeria as a whole. So consumer rights is a global issue. And what the governor just did is to just like my friend just said, he's just bringing the rights out from the pages of the law into the hands of the people.
But are we really conscious about this? Because a lot of laws are in operation in Nigeria, and either we don't know about them, or we do not know how to go about ensuring the implementation.
Definitely, you are right. And that was one of the reasons why even a part of that law specifies that the people should be educated always on the rights they have under the law. And forums like this are avenues through which people get to know what the rights they have are. It is not just about making the law, but the machineries that are put in place to make sure that this law gets to the people. There are certain very good qualities on that law that I must commend the governor for. Like the fact that you have the committees at the local government level. Because if it is just about the state capital, imagine somebody coming from Badagry or Ikorodu to come to Ikeja to lodge a complaint. But it will be very easy for the person to go to the nearest area council and give his or her own complaint, even though there are other points that are not completely good anyway. But these are innovative compositions of the law, and it must be commended.
Now,